Class is in session. The Brofessor is in. What's happening, y'all? If you just checked out my top 4 video for this boss battle against Kevin Nash Hall of Fame, then you are in the right place because we are going to talk about the bargain bin right here. Here's the top 4 again that I think, again, they are not the definitive top 4. I think there's a lot more than that, but I had to pick somebody and time was running out. So, beyond that, let's go over whom we're going to think are going to be good for the bargain bin. And in order to figure out who's going to be in the bargain bin, we need to know what boss abilities are out there and what we need to do in order to be useful to our team. So let's bro. First off, anybody in the bargain bin are people that are going to do one of two things. They are either going to help with shields or other things down here, and they're going to connect with one or two of these, maybe just one, be able to do a little bit of damage, but they're not going to carry your team by themselves, or even if there was 3 or 4 of them, it's probably not going to defeat the boss. That's usually how I put in the bargain bin. Although this time, that might be the case. There might be actually be several people in here that can do a lot of damage as well, too. So this is an interesting bargain bin, so I appreciate y'all being here. For our purposes, we have a shield that needs 115 green gems to be broken. It also will not be affected by neutralized boss breaker. So you have to break 115. And with 49 on the board, that's 3 full boards worth, almost 3 full boards worth of green gems that have to be taken care of. We also need some good boss breakers. One of them is increasing the MP cost. So we are going to have to, and this is a focused, I believe, a focused boss breaker for everybody. We need Regeneration X. So that way all of our teammates can get more MP for each turn that they work on. And then the other one is that the boss's move damage will increase, and this buff will last for 2 turns. It'll increase by 100% if anybody leaves a green gem, which they will. But this can be taken away by this boss breaker over here, the Neutralize. So while the Neutralize won't work on the shield, the Neutralize will work, ta-da, check mark, on that health or that damage bonus. So those are the 2 that you absolutely need to have. For the aggressive class, your boss breaker is going to be Exhaust. You need to bring this in here so that way you can decrease by up to 50% your opponent's, Kevin Nash's, damage to you and your team. So 2 of those exhausts will mean 0 damage for your team. And as always, the only one really ever worth using for defensive people is the Helping Hand. So you can heal all of your teammates as best as you can. And that goes off every turn. Neutralize will go off every turn at level 10. Not Neutralize, Exhaust. Those both go off every single turn at level 10. So those are the ones that you're going to want to bring in for your boss breakers and to mitigate some of these boss abilities on you and your team. All right, time to get into whom we think are going to be the best in each category in this bargain bin. So first and foremost, depending on how high you have him, Roman Reigns could be an interesting pick for this because of the moment that he has. Can we tap on tap? Moments? There we go. Takes a few taps for whatever reason. But he's going to be able to do more damage per botch gems. And so that's where we're going to get the best ability from Roman Reigns himself. He does make botch gems. He does have a damage per botch gem finisher. It's not very beefy, but it definitely can help. And he's got the ability to destroy and swap into some green gems. And it's a choose move, so you can do some damage right there. And that's going to help with the shield. So first and foremost, you got a Roman Reigns that's going to help you and your team. Next on our list, you can throw on some Hall of Fame Bret Hart, who does multiply gems, destroys multiply gems, makes green gems, a big swathing area of that. You can also put in the submission for botch gems, and then turn botch gems This actually makes botch gems, my apologies. But you have the ability then to um, get bonus damage for every multiplied gem. It doesn't work the same with the +1, so I wouldn't use the Spike Pile Driver, but he has the ability to help break the shield. He has multiply gems and multiply gem damage. So Bret Hart's another one that can go in the bargain bin. And then after him, we have someone, and a big shout out to Goldie for bringing this one to my attention. We have Cowboy Orton, Cowboy Bob Orton, however you want to say him. Makes green gems, has a pyro move that also makes everything above it into green gems. And then he does have botch gems on the board through the submission. So the submission makes botch gems. So you have a couple of options there to make botch, to make green. Doesn't have the multiplies, but in a world where you need somebody, and lots of y'all have brought him up, he's a great free-to-play option that most of you have taken pretty high. So Cowboy Bob Orton also works for this one. Included in this one would be someone like Zombie Sami Zayn, who I know some of you would think is going to be the top one. He was also in the contention for the top 4. Someone who makes a lot of green gems with pyros. Also makes, where is that? Green gem damage. That wasn't the one. Multiply gems. There it is. So he has really, really beefy multiply gems that are going to get up into the 30s. So he's going to do a ton of damage as well, too. So if you ended up getting Zeusy, Zombie Sami Zayn, he's going to be really good for this boss battle. I had Stunning Steve Austin, I think is also going to be really good for this boss battle. Also someone with multiply gems. He does make black, but he also makes purple. And so he's going to be someone who does make green gems. And green gems into multiply gems too. So he's someone that can be useful in the bargain bin for y'all. Added on to this list. This list is getting long. We haven't even gotten to most of them. The Great Khali with his purple gem damage buffs. So he has a buff to purple gem damage. So destroying random trap gems. That moveset itself will work really well. I don't think his other moveset is any good with it. No, so if you use this moveset, you'll get some extra damage for some purple, destroy a whole bunch of purple. So Khali works himself into the bargain bin right there. Kevin Nash, Hall of Fame, against himself. He has, with his buffs, cross breaks and color moves start with more. It's not him that I was thinking of. But he is someone that will make a bunch of purple gems, I believe, as well, too. Just a few traps into purple gems. But he also makes green gems, I believe. Does he not? Never mind. Hall of Fame Nash, you are not on the list. Strike this man out of the bargain bin. I don't know why he was on my list. Strike it from the record. No more of you. Last but not least on my list is someone that I don't have. Would be this man right here. So Ghostbuster Hogan, if you got him, will also be able to not only make wild cards, but he makes multiply gems. And so he's also somebody who can do a little bit of damage. They have faction boss things as well too. So he'll get a little bit of extra from the faction boss, but none of these are really helpful for our purposes. I thought I'd throw him in there in case you actually had him, but I don't think he's actually going to do as much damage as anyone would want him to do. And last but not least, actually, is Hall of Fame Perfect. And then we can get out of this category in itself. It's been a while, but he has multiply gems. It's not that sub that we're going to want to use. It is that move, the Knife Edge Chops, that we can make a whole bunch of random purple gems. And that's countdown gems, multiply gems. Yeah, so he has the ability to make purples and multiplies, but don't think he's going to be the best one out there for everybody, although we do get more purple gem damage with his gear. So, and I got a nice fuse up. Huzzah! Ha ha ha! We'll take that later, whenever the contest goes live. So that's who I think's in the bargain bin for the focus category. And my goodness, did that take a while to get to. When it comes to whom we're going to use in the chaotic boss battle bin, bargain bin, you know what I'm talking about. I think KO is always in the mix, especially when they don't nerf any of his gems. He's going to be able to stack all of his stuff, especially with a Titan plate. So he's someone that I would think would be good for this. Another one that I thought might be one of the top 4 or 5 would be Randy Orton, who does make a bunch of multiply gems and blows up the board. It is blowing it up with blue, but if you decided to put the finisher in instead, and possibly the bite, which turns a 4x3 area into multiply gems, you have a couple of options with Randy Orton. I think he's going to be really good for your bargain bin needs. Also in the bargain bin is the RK Bro. I think he's going to do really well. I'm going to try to speed this up. If you got Hall of Fame King Lawler, I think he's going to do a lot of purple gem damage, but he's got none of the other buffs that we're going to want. But if he's one of your best purple gem people, then that's someone I would consider putting in there. And speaking of free-to-play people who actually might be the best in this category, I thought about long and hard about putting Wes Lee over here, considering that he also makes multiplies, turns multiplies, and chooses some blue moves. But I think he's going to do really well, especially, again, for free-to-play people. And that's all feud stuff, so that doesn't help him in this case. So Wes Lee is going to be good to use. I think this man is also, Logan Paul's going to slap in this one as well too. I think he's going to make a lot of multiplies, destroy multiplies, or you can even go with the green move set that makes also a bunch of multiplies. So Logan Paul has that ability as well. You could also, there's just so many multiply people to work with. I think Hall of Fame Snap It to a Slim Jim. I think he's also going to do really well, making a lot of multiply gems onto the board, depending on how you want to run him. You can also destroy multiply gems. So there's play to be done there with him. Did we have anybody? We've already done that side. Oh, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Sako would also be an interesting choice for this one as well too. Using his triple green moveset, making botch gems, getting bonus damage for botch gems, and then making a bunch of them into botch gems. Finisher, choose finisher. I don't think he's going to be the best one out there, but I think he's going to be able to help you and do some damage if you've taken him up high enough with which to do so. Who am I missing in here? Another one who does a lot of purple gem damage himself is Montez Ford, right? Montez Ford has a move that does extra bonus damage for every purple gem. So that could be a worthwhile choice as well, too. In our aggressive category, I think the first one that's probably going to be amazing is Braun Breaker. Break everything. He makes a bunch of multiply gems. Turns a whole bunch into purple. You can also increase your purple gem damage by 215%. I think this moveset would work really well for Braun. After Braun Breaker, we are going to take a look. We are going to use Tech Jimmy. Tech Jimmy might actually be a really interesting one for the same reason that Roman Reigns could be interesting because of the faction boss. Multiply gems are going to be +4, which is going to help, and the botch gems are going to be +225. And Jimmy's got both. So Jimmy's going to have both of those to work with. He also is going to make green gems, so you're going to be able to help with the shield. But he does have, with his other moveset, the ability to both make multiplies, make purples, and also to swap and make greens. So you can mix and match between the blacks and the purples down here for him, but he's going to be able to do a little bit of damage. And last but not least is someone that I don't have, but there's not a lot in this area we can use. Does he work with this one? Where are you? There he is. Tech Hogan, Technomania, or Togan, as I like to call him. Togen is going to make botch gems and make them into green gems. He's going to make botch into wild card, so he's going to help with the shield, and botch into green if you have him at 6-star. So I don't think he's going to be the best in category, but Togen gets a shout out for working there. And last but not least, there's not a whole heck of a lot of amazing in this category for us to use when it comes to either the botch or the purple. What we're sort of left with is Hall of Fame Yokozuna. Right, so Yokozuna, I think, is probably going to be the last best option in here. His ability to make botch gems and pin the opponent. If you have his gear, he will generate a lot more botch gems, and I think that's where his usefulness comes in. But without gears, he's not going to be that special. I did not want to manage. I wanted to replace. Another one that you can use here if you have Ezekiel is he can also be really interesting in a triple green moveset because he increases purple damage by a lot. And you can choose 11 to make into purples. His sub is going to make a bunch of immobile gems. So it's going to be a difficult time to put this together. You might want to actually use the high knee. There you go. Or you might want to use a purple move. Those other purple moves actually don't help him. So that's not going to help us. That's probably how you're going to have to run Ezekiel. But he will help with the purple gem damage as well as some green to break the shield. And I went past him earlier, but actually K-Quick, another free-to-play option for people to use. Someone who makes a lot of multiply gems. And someone who also does some green gems and making and black gems. Unfortunately, that's where his ability falls short, but somebody that a lot of people already have or have taken him up for newer, freer to play people. So that is our bargain bin, and that is a large bargain bin because this is actually a very favorable matchup for us. Lots of different characters that we can use to try to take down this boss, Kevin Nash. And if you feel like I've missed somebody, absolutely put it into the comments and let me know. I tried to get as many as I could. And if you haven't checked it out yet, check out the top 4 video, check out the channel, give it the old like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for coming out today to class. Class is over. Brofessor out.